In this video, me and my dog will teach you how to generate leads via cold email in any B2B industry. To prove this, I'm gonna let AI decide which industry we're gonna tackle in today. Let's get right into the video. Here is the ChatGPT prompt. Let me put it right here. I said no IT MSPs because on the part 2 we did that. Commercial cleaning services. If you haven't seen the part 1, go ahead and check it out. So right now, we are choosing commercial roofing contractors, okay? So what I'm gonna do right now is to select this for select a sample company, and then I'm gonna have a Google Doc right here to make things organized. And then let's see what we got. Okay. So the lucky company for today would be NYC Commercial Roofers. You guys are lucky because I will be teaching you on how to get leads via cold email for this specific company. So to make things easier, what I did right here is to separate this into 3 stages, okay? So let's go to the stage 1, which is building a prospect list. Louis, what do you mean? What do you mean building a prospect list? Well, who can we give to NYC Commercial Roofing as a lead, right? So what I'm gonna do is scroll down to their website for a little bit and see what they're even offering and who can we send to them, right? So it seems just from the company itself, they're targeting there are commercial roofing contractors. So meaning there's like the B2B or the B2C of roofers, and they're in the B2B industry, which means commercial roofing, right? And the problem here that I'm seeing right now is they're located in New York. So one thing that I might be restricted here would be the service area that they're located. So we will see on that later on. But what else am I looking for? I'm trying to see what type of companies they've already worked with, because it seems that they're very good in terms of like the search results, because we've clicked on them, but their website is not so much. I'm sorry, NYC Commercial Roofing, but I have to be honest. It's terrible. Okay, so we're not seeing anything here. So here's what I'm gonna do. If you can find any proof here, like that they work with X, Y, and Z already, so one good thing is to go directly to AI already. Or if it's better, we can also find some reviews for them. See if we can find some reviews, because all right, I think they're on Yelp. So let me do a little bit of research here first, and if I can, I'm gonna proceed with the prospect list. Okay, so resuming, here's what I've found out, right? So since they are located in New York, New York City, and then most of their services are with like roof installation, etc. So the one thing that I'm noticing first is, okay, who are the people in the commercial space that we can target here? So I'm already thinking retail. We can also do commercial real estate. Residential could be one too. In terms of job titles, what I'm immediately thinking already are property managers. So let's go with industries first, and then job titles. And then location wise, I think they're restricted to New York or New York City. So let's be safe and not target elsewhere, because since there would be roofing in general would be like a local based service. So that depends if they are a huge company, which I don't see any um, branches here, so I wouldn't assume that they are. So I'm thinking already retail for malls that can benefit for roofers, residential or real estate, or there's also a commercial real estate. And I'm speaking in Apollo terms, so later on you will see what I mean here. And in these companies, I typically work with property managers, If they are in a warehouse, I work with facilities manager. If they are in the retail, they might be a store manager or a general manager. What else? Then we could use AI to gather more information here, basically. But in my experience, I typically work with because when you just this is information based on the experience already. When we typically work with residential communities, you have to be a vendor, right? So roofing would technically be a vendor for a certain property management company, say CBRE, Gray Star Communities, etc. Right? So we would act the same thing. Commercial estate. I forgot to mention their real estate. And then, does employee count matter here? It's a good question, but no, it doesn't really matter because as long as they're in the right position and they manage a property, then they would need a roof, essentially, right? So, does employee count matter? No. And other than that, what else are we seeing? I think that's it. So let me finalize this first. And there we go. So one thing that I've seen here is that we can also target building owners since we're primarily targeting NYC. We can target the owners or like the developers. So that would be a different segment. But if we were to just have like a segment one for our campaign, the sample campaign, I would put it here, right? So segment two would be like the developer or owners, right? So I would put it in a different category because, first of all, I would speak differently if I were to reach out to these people because I know that they manage it. Sure, they have the decision to it, but they don't own it compared to the segment two, which, you know, they own the property, etc., or they develop the property. See, so we got facility, operations. Yeah, I think so. But operations manager are too broad in this term, right? So I want to focus here first, and then if the volume is not enough, we can um, expand later on. There we go. All right, so I'm gonna build a follow filter now. Okay, so Louis, well, what the hell are you doing? Why are you in Apollo? Okay, so for those of you who don't know, since we're building it from scratch, here's the idea, right? We are helping NYC Commercial Roofing to get leads via cold email. So essentially, what we're doing here is to try to find, okay, what type of people are we looking for? And then once we have that like filter wise, we can now try to map it out in a database where we can find people, which my go-to database for it in this case is Apollo. So just go to apollo.io. They have a free plan. I am on a paid plan because I use them a lot. And then here's the thing that you wanted to look for. So you got people and companies. Do not mind the rest. I don't use everything else aside from people and company. The basic premise of this is pretty simple. If you want to find people, then you go here. If you want to find companies, you go here. So let's find the people. Okay, there's a lot of filters here. What do you use, Louis? So first thing that you do is to go to email status, click verified only. You don't want to be charged by credits with something that is unverified or not available, right? So you just want the verified. And then what job titles? So a tip here, this is a pro tip that you could do is if you want an exact job title, right? Because if you search here, sales manager, there might be some job titles here that are not accurate. So if I want like the same exact word to appear, I would put a comma, or not a comma, but this one, property manager, quote unquote. Boom. See, it's very clean, it's very neat. And then, hold on, let me filter it out to United States, or not United States, but New York instead. New York, New York. There we go. And then we're gonna filter it out by uh, facilities manager, store manager, or one thing that I forgot is building manager. There we go. And then general manager. So I don't even want to go with the general manager. You know what? Because sometimes they don't even manage a property because we're not filtering out any industry here yet. So let me filter that out first. Um, Retail, see, real estate. You know, one thing too that I just remember here would be warehouse. So warehouse has a huge roofing needs. So that could be a thing. Warehouse or logistics too. We could do that. If they're a decision maker there, logistics has some. They need the storage, right? So, which is a building, a property. There we go. So we got about 1,500 people. Not bad. This is pretty small, to be honest. It will run out in less than a month, so I can't really offer the services that we're doing here. But hey, if you're NYC Commercial Roofing and you're watching this, you could just use this for one time, right? So now that you have that, okay, what would be the stage two? Well, of course, you have to get this, but well, how do you get this? So let me update you with October's update, okay? Boom, my dog is back. Well, let me update you with October's update. Recently, Apollo has been shutting down Apify, which is the cheapest alternative for you to scrape Apollo recently, right? So an alternative to that I proposed was on September was Ampulease, but as of yesterday, a few days ago, they have recently had some issues too. So what is the alternative that I recommend to you? Well, the short answer is you can get Apollo's low tier plan, but the long answer is an alternative that I recommend to you is using LinkedIn Sales Navigator plus Vane, or this is the last one. So if you're still watching this today's video, you're gonna get some value out of this because I haven't released this tool yet in public. I mean, I'm not the developer, but I use it, you know? So I will be sharing it with you guys, which is right here. The alternative that you're going to be using is the Boomerang or boomerang.com. So as you can see here, they have a bunch of tools, which is Apollo, Crunchbase, Waterfall Enrichment, but primarily this is what you're going to be using. So as you remember, when we were using Ample Leads, it was just $1.2. This one is much more expensive, I know, but the thing about this, it just works. So if you're watching this as of October and the bugs hasn't been fixed yet, then pretty much you can benefit out of this, right? So what you're going to be doing is register there. They're completely free unless you started using it. That's the only time that you're going to be paying. But paste the Apollo filter, and then they'll give you a list. Then you'll get the CSV of the people that are here with their emails. But you're not done yet, right? You're not done yet. So here's what you're going to do afterwards. You will go to a verification tool called Rion, or an alternative that you could also use is Million Verifier. I've used them personally. Or you could also use BrandNav. Any verification tool out there is pretty much doing the same thing. So feel free to use yours, whatever you have, that would be the best. But here are the tools that I'm personally using that I can recommend because I've tested them already, right? So the main purpose of this is it will verify the email that you're sending from, right? So if I know John and I have his Gmail, for example, this is Mark Cuban's Gmail, I can verify it, and then it will say if it's safe to send, etc., etc. Because you don't want to send to people that are non-existent, right? So you just want to send to the people that are real. So, well, what do you say to them? Well, that is with stage two, which is writing the copy. Now that we have the people that we want to target, what do we say on the actual email? So let me write the copy and then I'll break it down to you on how we can position NYC Commercial Roofing in a cold email. All right. So we got the email copy right here. So the subject that I've chosen, I've got three variations here, which is company inspection. So for example, it's like a restaurant, or let's say like a residential community, right? Greystar inspection. So that would be the subject line that they'll be seeing. So the next one would be need assistance, because we're pitching there's our services later on, which you'll know. So Greystar X NYC commercial roofing intro, right? So let's go with the email 1A, which means email first. That is variation A. Okay. Hey, first name, I'm sure you've already got your roof covered. Just reaching out in case you ever need a quick repair, emergency fix, or inspection before the colder months hit. Because, as you know, or if you don't know, New York City tends to get colder in the Burr months, which is in the Christmas season, right? So we wanted to use the current time frame and leverage that into our email copy. So, and because of course we'll be reaching out to non-new developers right here. These are property managers already. They have to be managing something. Well, what are you managing? Existing properties. So that's why we assume that it's already. I would be careful here if I were to reach out to certain developers, because their job title would be property managers, but they're not managing anything yet because they're currently developing it. I don't know if that's even possible, right? Why would you hire that? Anyways, so that's the first one. Let's proceed with the second one. Email 1B. Hey, first name, October's cooler weather usually kicks off leak season for a lot of New York City buildings, especially with older or flat roofs. We help commercial properties stay ahead with inspection, quick repairs, and full service installs when needed. No disruptions, just fast local support. Would a quick roof check be useful before the real cold sets in? Because I remember when actively we're also reaching out in behalf of security guard companies, what we like to do is offer them a security assessment, right? So if there's any potential leaks in your security or breaches, right, that could be a possible issue, because you have to be proactive to prevent issues, right? So we offer them as a lead magnet. So in this case, I figure something like a roof inspection would be a good way to offer to these people. Say the condition of your roof is there's a problem here, here, and here. Do you want to fix it, etc. Right? They can be proactive there too. So that's something that they could offer. But just a note here. So the company, NYC Commercial Roofing, has to agree that they want to do this. So if not, then you can just disregard this. Let's proceed with the last one, email 1C. Hey, first name, curious if you already have a roofing partner you trust for urgent repairs or seasonal inspections, right? So because right now we're trying to position ourselves as our vendor. Okay, you don't need us. When you hire a roofing company, you don't really need them every day, every week, right? So if there's an emergency, you call them. So we're acting as a vendor, as a partner, that when the property manager has a problem with their roof, call our vendor immediately, right? Because we are their partners who will solve their roofing problems. That's what we're trying to position with, right? We work with commercial buildings across NYC, offering fast, clean commercial roofing work. No mess, no drawn out timelines. Happy to be on call if you ever need us. Boom. There we go. So you just send that, and then the idea here is to test out what really works and then stick and double down on that. If it works, then send more on that variation. Because we're trying to see, we don't have any data yet to prove which of these will work. In theory, 1A could work better than 1C, but if you send 1,000 emails, you've seen 1C much better, then you can lie the data, right? So anyways, proceeding with the last step. Okay, let's recap. You got the list of people that you want to target. You got the email script that you can send to them. What else can you really do here? Well, how can you reach out to those 1,500 people? Well, you have to set up an infrastructure. And in order for you to, what is an infrastructure anyways? Building an infrastructure just means that in order for you to send hundreds of emails per day, you have to have a proper setup behind it. In this case, it's a small setup. I wouldn't really recommend scaling out multiple inbox here. I would say if you were to reach out to these people in a month, I would say you just need 10, to be honest. 10 inbox, that would be good. So I listed out the couple of vendors, the three top or main vendors where I get my inboxes from. So what you do is you purchase domains. Purchase domains. So this is either purchased via Porkbun. I like using Porkbun, GoDaddy, or Spaceship. Those are the main ones that I actually just Porkbun and Spaceship. Those are the main ones that I use, to be honest. And then you don't want to use your main domain. So remember, when we search NYC commercial roofers, so we don't want to use this exact domain. We don't want to send there because this, we have to protect this domain because this is their website. Their website can't be flagged as spam, right? So we have to protect their domain reputation. That's why we purchase multiple subdomains. So these are get NYC commercial roofers.com, right? So you can also do try. You can also do the. So, you know, different variations. In this case, I recommend that they purchase at least 5 domains in this case, and then each one of those domains will have 2 dedicated inbox. Second question that you may have, okay, which of the providers should you get? Set up 2 inboxes per domain on Google. I recommend Google because later on, the thing about here, why I listed out the top 3 is you have to segregate or diversify once you start running thousands of emails per day to make sure that you're properly segregated. So that's why I listed the top 3. But in this case, since they're only low volume, I would stick to Google as the primary one. So that's the thing. And then, well, what happens here then? So the emails would look something like this. There we go. So you got 2 different variations on that same domain. And then when you search it, say for example, of course it's not existing yet, but when you search it, it should redirect to the same website right here. Okay, so you set that up. And then proceed with a warm-up period. What does warm-up period mean? Warm-up is just 2 people sending emails to one another so that Google doesn't think that you're spamming immediately after creating new inboxes, right? So, and then start sending volume. I recommend sending volume here would be to be at least 10 emails per day. And then if you're confident enough, some people even go 30, but I like to max it out at 20. Okay, and there we go. So on average, right? Let's say you get five domains, 10 inboxes. Each inbox will send 10 per day, which 20 sending days would be 200. So 10 times 20 send, right? 20 sending days, and then about 4,000 emails. So, and remember, you're still going to follow up with them. So you can make this a 3-step email sequence since it's only 1,500. I wouldn't mind reaching out to them 3 times. So set that up and then boom, you're good. So the one thing that you do here is this is only the first step for you to get your foot in front of the door, for them to know that you exist. So once that they know you, and that's where you do the sales process. So of course, you guys are the expert here, NYC Commercial Roofing. So once you do that, proceed with your sales pitch. This is what we found out. etc., etc. This is our recommendation. Do you want this? Yes or no? Let me send you a quote. This is the deal. Sign the contract, and then boom, you just got yourself a new client, all through the help of Luis Ortega. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers. And if you like this series, please suggest an industry that you would like to me to create a cold email setup on. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. Peace.